What it do, homie? Scissor here, and welcome back to another video. Alright, so I know what you're thinking. What the fuck kind of list is that?
What kind of shit is that?
Shit must be boring as fuck, bro. Yeah, I know it must sound boring as fuck on paper, but let me tell you, buildings, especially in open world games, go way the hell overlooked. It's real crazy how buildings go underappreciated. So let's give more appreciation to the map designers by listing some of our most favorite buildings from the Saints Row series. Alright, without further ado, let's start this list. Up at number 5, we got the Broken Shillelagh from Saints Row 3 and Saints Row 4. The Broken Shillelagh is a bar and steel port that the Saints use as a frequent meeting ground to plan out their attacks and missions in Saints Row 3. In Saints Row 4, however, the bar is used as a portal to other people's simulation. The outside is littered with chairs and tables as well as some decor, and sometimes find NPCs sitting down drinking coffee for whatever reason. As you can tell, the exterior for the Broken Shillelagh is pretty much bare bone. Nothing really pops up really, but wait until you see the interior. The Saints Row series is no stranger to having a well put together interior, and the interior of the Broken Shillelagh proves it. Right as you walk in, the amount of detail slaps the living shit out of you. I mean, look at this place. It feels like an actual living bar. I mean, up on the counter we have every cheap drink of your choice. Right smack down in the middle we got a few pool tables. And just in case pool isn't your thing, on the sidelines we have a pinball machine with what appears to have some concept art of Steelport, the unfortunately unplayable Zombie Uprising 2, and the original Saints Row 3. Not the third, 3. This became one of the most memorable buildings in all Saints Row after the third. And as you can see, for good reasons, and that's why it takes my number 5 spot. Number 4, the Saints HQ, Saints Row 3. This has got to be one of the best looking cribs in all of the Saints Row series, and nothing less but the best for the Saints. This penthouse HQ was once owned by the Morning Star, a rival gang to the Saints. It was quickly raided by the Saints in the mission party time. Once all the Morning Star were evicted and the mission completed, this luxurious building will become property of the 3rd Street Saints. And let me tell you, this building is luxurious. Not only does it have an elevator and its own parking lot, it also features a pool area complete with its patio, a greenhouse, a great view of the city, and even its own helipad. Like I said, nothing less than the best for the Saints.
But wait! There's more! Hang on to your seat, baby! Cause this one's a screamer!
The interior is even better, featuring a living room, a kitchen, a bar, a few bedrooms, offices, some bathrooms, a gym, a dining room, and even a storage. There's also a second floor that is used in the mission stag party, but sadly it's inaccessible after the mission without the use of mods or glitches. The crib, however, gets destroyed in the Steelport simulation in Saints Row 4, but it makes a full appearance during the pier simulation. All in all, this building sure deserves a spot on the list for how iconic it is to the newer members of the fan base, and for that, it takes my number 4 pick. Number 3, the Saints Row Church, aka the original Saints HQ. What could make a great hideout for a street gang known as the 3rd Street Saints? Well, a church, of course. This church was built shortly after Stillwater was founded, but unfortunately, due to its poor maintenance, the church quickly fell apart, taking its appearance in Saints Row as a rundown, horrid place of worship. I don't know what it is about this building, but it kinda gives me the creeps. Looks like something out of a horror movie or something. It's cool nonetheless, but anyway. Julius and other Vice King members at the time put down their yellow flags after having a fallout with Ben King, and quickly found refuge in the abandoned church. They raised those flags yet again, but this time sporting a different color. Purple. It quickly became the hideout of the 3rd Street Saints from then on throughout the events of Saints Row. The outside of the church is covered in gang tags as well as boards covering the windows. It's also complete with its own cemetery that the Saints use to canonize their new members. The inside, however, is pretty much what you expect from a war-torn church. It's full of broken pillars and misplaced benches. Saints graffiti is also plastered on the walls. There also seems to be some sort of construction equipment as the Saints were in the middle of doing some renovations during the game. The church also features office spaces for each of their lieutenants and Julius himself. These spaces are the most clean and best looking parts of the church. The church makes another appearance in Saints Row 2, although prior to the events of the game, it was massively renovated and fixed up by Ultor. It also makes an appearance during Saints Row 4 during Ben King's simulation, this time appearing mostly the same as it did in Saints Row 1, taking only a few bits of creative differences here and there. This building not only looks dope, but it also brings a great backstory along with it. This is the building that started it all, and for that, it takes my number 3 spot. Number 2, Round Square Shopping Mall. What was one of the many things that made the Saints Row series different from any other open world crime game at the time? The answer? Interiors. Lots and lots of interiors. Saints Row 1 had a bunch, but Saints Row 2 cranked that soldier boy up to 3,000 and added a boatload of new interiors, many which unfortunately couldn't make the list, but was still much appreciated. But one of the many buildings that stuck with me was Round Square Shopping Mall. The exterior of the mall looks innocent enough, pretty much what any outside shopping center looks like. A few stores, a parking entrance, and that's about it. But of course, it's Saints Row 2, that's just scratching the surface. Once you find the entrance, you'll be blown away for how big the whole mall really is. Once you walk in, one thing that really catches your eye would be the beautiful waterfalls with the Ultor logo smacked on top of it. And if that wasn't enough, the attention to detail in this mall is out of this world. You'll be able to find prize cars that you're able to steal, an employee lounge, a food court, and of course, let's not forget the many shops that you can find here, each with their own interiors as well. It's like an interior within an interior, just in case you haven't had enough interiors. These shops include Freckle Bitches, Fuck Me, Fuck You, A Company of Gyros, Apollo's Bagels, Friendly Fire, Brass Knuckles, Leather and Lace, a Let's Pretend, and last but not least, a Nobody Loves Me. With the exception of a few stores, everything you could possibly want is right here, which makes the mall a very viable place to visit during your run of Saints Row 2. That and the other awesome surroundings is what makes Round Square Shopping Mall my number 2 pick. Now before we get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions. Stillwater Science Center, Saints Row 1 and Saints Row 2. Although it's not enterable in Saints Row 1, in Saints Row 2 it becomes a fully fledged exhibition. Just take a look around, it's filled with dioramas and demonstrations. The outside of the building is as futuristic as you can get, without going too overboard. The inside features several aircrafts on display, it even has a fully modeled burger joint. There's even a behind the scenes area that is under construction and fully explorable. I mean, how fucking crazy is that? I really wanted to include this on the list, since really it's one of those buildings that didn't really need to be in the game, but Volition did so anyways, which is still much appreciated by the way. But I ultimately decided against this, mainly because I didn't want the whole list to be comprised of Saints Row 2 buildings. I also wanted to include at least one building from each Saints Row game. So yeah, it's Stillwater Science Center. Great building, great atmosphere. Unfortunately, it pains me to leave it off the list. Next on our honorable mentions, we have the BDSM Club, or Safe Word. I couldn't decide whether or not to include this building over the Broken Shillelagh, but because Safe Word wasn't as significant as the Broken Shillelagh, I ultimately chose the bar over the club. I hope not too many Safe Word fans get angry at me or anything. But with that being said, let's just get back to the topic at hand, shall we? Alright, let's start off by talking about the exterior. The exterior, at least to me, kind of resembles Bulworth Academy, which is kind of weird considering what actually happens inside. And what does actually happen inside, you may ask? Well, the entrance seems harmless enough, having a small little reception area and all. That is until you get more deeper, and you'll find out that this isn't any ordinary club. Right as you walk in, you see a bunch of weird shit like hanging bird cages with strippers in them. Can't make this shit up. If you're thirsty though, they have a whole bar that puts the Broken Shillelagh to shame. What's that? You want to get your freak on? But bedrooms are too pussy shit for you? Hey, don't worry, Safe Word has you covered, fool. For those of you who want a little bit more than just a bedroom experience, Safe Word offers a sex dungeon for the freakiest of freaks. Yeah, if you couldn't tell already, this is a sex club. And if you can't take the hint, the whole club is littered with penis sculptures and the rooms are filled with dildos. I'm sorry, I fucking can't. Anyway, you're able to unlock Safe Word as a fully customizable crib after the mission Pimps Up, Hose Down. But doing so will remove all the charm from the club, meaning it'll basically turn into a generic crib. Well, there you have it, that was Safe Word. The huge club that got beat by a small bar, which in all honesty I kind of find a little bit better, because physically you can go inside whenever you want, unlike Safe Word where you're only allowed to go inside it during certain missions. Alright, time for the last honorable mention, and that goes to Precinct 31, aka Stillwater PD Headquarters. This is one of the many buildings in Saints Row 2 I visit quite often, and rightfully so, this place is huge. It's enough to get lost and I'm not even kidding. This place is also home to one of the most famous secret missions, and where you and Julius team up for the final time and discover what a shithead Dex really is. If I were to make a top 5 Saints Row 2 buildings list, this would definitely fall on second place. It's that great of a building, and since I'm praising it this much, why wouldn't it be in the first place, you may ask? Well, that's because there's one more building that tops all of these buildings off. What building stands out the most in any Saints Row game to date? If you said anything but the Syndicate Tower, then you're absolutely wrong. This skyscraper looks like the other two in Steelport, but it's in red, and I like red. Red's my favorite color. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to leave a like on this video. Alright, I'm just playing. The number one spot absolutely has to go to the Phillips building in Saints Row 2. If you said any other building is number one, I'm sorry to tell you, you're wrong. This building looks sleek, it's on point. As Carlos puts it,
just look towards Saints Row and you'll see that fucking eyesore.
That eyesore is one of the most memorable buildings in gaming, period. Forget the Maze Bank Tower in GTA 5, forget the Citadel from Half-Life 2. The Phillips building blows both buildings straight out of the water. You can tell Volition is proud of its design, mainly due to the fact that it's featured right in the middle of the Seal of Stillwater. And if you play Saints Row 2, you already know how much that seal is plastered all over the city. If that wasn't enough to convince you that this is one of the best buildings ever, just take a look at its design. It's tall, it's black and orange, it looks ultra futuristic, covered in that beautiful logo we all know and love from Red Faction. What's not to love about this building? It's a beautiful, beautiful building. The building really stands out across the whole map. The first thing you see while driving or flying a plane would be this tall, beautiful drink of water. The Phillips building was constructed by Ultor after the death of Mayor Hughes, which happened right at the end of Saints Row 1. Ultor went above and beyond when building this joint. They go so far as to add its own defense system. And if you don't feel like walking up 71 flights of stairs or using the elevator, you can come through like a pimp in your own helicopter by landing on the helipad. While the building isn't enterable by normal means, Gentlemen of the Row, a Saints Row 2 mod, converts the whole building into an accessible crib. Well, by whole, I mean the top floor. Even though it's supposed to be inaccessible, it's still decently detailed and it looks like it could have been an actual crib. I honestly really love the design of this building. I even mentioned this in past videos. Scott Phillips, you sure know how to make one hell of a building. And that wraps up my top 5 buildings list. If you have a building I missed out on that you think should have been mentioned on the list, let me know down in the comments. I'm also curious how you guys rank these. I honestly didn't think the video would be this long, so for those of you who actually stuck around this far, thank you very much. Before I wrap this thing up, I'd like to invite you guys to my Discord server. You guys don't have to join, but if you guys want to talk to me or other members of the community, you guys are more than welcome to come in. Currently, we're a small community, but we're looking to grow. We even made it so that you can change your role to any of the gangs in the Saints Row series. So if you guys are interested, come on by and say hi. Anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate you all. Take care, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.
I got a Glock, just in case you steal my heart. I swear I'll send 100 shots. You try to play me, bitch, you thought. Fucking thought. I got a Glock, just in case you steal my heart. I swear I'll send 100 shots. You try to play me, bitch, you thought. Fucking thought. I got a Glock just in case you rob me. You say you love me, bitch, fucking tell me I cheated on you, but I said I'm sorry. Psych, bitch, I ain't never sorry. Akuna Matata, I'm chilling with Guala, I'm counting that shit. That shit made me harder. Doing me wrong, I'm Wesley like Fargo. And bring me that jacket that I let you borrow. I had to let you know what. Fucking with my feelings, that's all motherfucking no beat flex. I had to let you know. Don't try to steal my heart, I got a Glock, let it go. I got a Glock.